Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kyle's Corner, episode 8. I am, of course, Kyle, and I'm joined with the one and only Alan from Library of Allenxandria, the only Fall of Babel lover in the entire world. And
That's not true.
no, that's absolutely not true. And a very good friend of mine. And it's been a long time since I've talked to Alan, so I thought I'd have him on and we can chat about whatever comes up and how things are going. So, Alan, for the one person watching this that doesn't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself?
That's not true. Many people are not knowing who I am now. I'm like the child celebrity that used to be on that thing, and that people are like, I didn't that guy used to be on that thing? And the world has moved on.
Okay, Roland.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm Alan from the Library of Allenxandria. I promise there are new videos coming soon at some point. I have literally like 6 videos on my computer right now. Some filmed in October, and they're just sitting there unedited, like old film reels sitting collecting dust in the archives. But yeah, it's we agree on like historical fiction and stuff.
I think we agree on most things. It's usually about degrees. And it's like the things that we don't agree on, it just really guts you. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
like, I just picked a few things that are like your dear, cherished babies.
That's
And I'm
probably
like, it's
true.
terrible.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
So we have some people in the comments. Good morning, Anitha. Hey, Sean. Rogue, what's up? K Fox, how's it going? Hey, Niru. Sal. Evie, we're not going to talk about this. Evie has decided my name is spelled differently than it is now, so that's
Why?
the whole thing. I don't know. Evie's Evie. It was some sort of Discord joke. I don't remember how it started. And we have Pete, which brings me to my first question, Pete being here, which is, when are you going to start the Dandelion Dynasty?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Never.
Too popular. Daniel Green loves it.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't think Daniel Green's talked about the Dandelion Dynasty in a while.
No, he hasn't. He keeps wanting to make a review of it, but like not having time or whatever.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Who doesn't do his own thumbnails? Doesn't do his own editing.
Oh, are we calling him out now? Okay, I wasn't calling him out. I was just mentioning.
I mean, like, just say you don't want to. Saying you don't have time is disingenuous. Like that's. I mean, that's.
I think
not
I was just no. I think what he actually said in the last like update or whatever is that he's been pushing off things that aren't going to do well on the algorithm, and he's now realizing that that's a bad way to live, and so he's gonna stop trying to do that. Allegedly,
I'm.
so.
Are we wagering?
I am not wagering, but listen,
Here's
like,
the thing.
mental health is a real thing.
I know, but no one stops chasing the algorithm. It's like getting weaning yourself off of drugs. No one's going to. No one stops chasing the algorithm. You can only start chasing the algorithm. Seriously. There are
I
people
believe
who
that.
start out doing it because they want to, and then all of a sudden you hear the words like, well, I just can't. Like, I have to. And okay, first of all, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to, but you want to. Like, no one stops chasing the algorithm. And then you just hear people talk as if it's freaking a drug, and maybe they should open rehab clinics for the
algorithm rehab. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
No one stops chasing the algorithm.
And to be fair, he did say that in the video. Like, he was like, I probably will still do videos just for the algorithm.
Of course.
Rogue finished Wall of Storms. See, Evie, this is why I don't think of you when I think of Dandelion Dynasty, because you don't like the Wall of Storms, and that's bad.
Well, I mean, no one's talking about Dandelion Dynasty, so it's not like off my not read list. So it's a matter of like wanting to read it.
I really think you would love it.
I agree. Like, I really do think I'm going to like it. The problem is that I'm reading too many things that I already have put on the list of things I want to read.
Yeah, that's
and I can't get through them. And if I can get through them, then I can look around for new stuff. But I've got to read my Parker books that I'm trying to finish, and I've got to, catch up on the other stuff that I need to catch up on.
What are you reading right now?
I have, Kyle, like, since Chatting with Nuts, which was like almost 2 weeks ago, I haven't read anything. Like I just haven't read at all. I've either worked or played Dark Souls or been too tired to do anything. So I haven't read. I actually I think I'm going to pick up The Escapement, which is the third book of the engineering trilogy. So let me get this comment in before both Pete and Evie and Anita start all capsing in the thing. And it's because I can't read anything. Like I cannot get into anything. And I was talking about this, I think, on my last stream, in that I need the momentum. Like I can't break exit velocity on anything I've started. I can't like get into it to where like now I'm going to choose to sit down and read this. But with this book being the third in the engineer trilogy that I've already started and already like, I already have built-in escape velocity. So I can like, I know I'll want to sit down and read it. So I think the only hope of me reading anything right now is to read that. So I think I'm going to start that. I don't know when.
But I was almost as shocked that you started Beartown for that exact reason, is that you had so many other things to do.
So
and then all of a sudden you're reading Beartown.
Audio. I was able to listen.
Oh, yeah. The audio book narrator for those books is really, really good. I liked her a lot. That book makes me very angry. I live in like I
had to stop listening to it. I had to stop because I couldn't listen to the things that were happening. I had to read them. I couldn't hear it. It was driving me crazy.
I live in a town that's like obsessed with hockey, and so every time there was like, some parent being like, but he's a star player of the team, I was just like,
who cares?
Just getting convulsive shocks.
Who cares? Who cares? Who cares that they're good at hockey? So why don't you have them be good at being a human? Try
Absolutely.
that one. Oh my gosh, it's an enraging story, Kyle, but so well written. Like Stephen King always gets like, he takes the crown of small town life or whatever. I don't know. Bachman may be the new one because he brings that small town life and feel so well.
Yeah, Beartown was excellent. I've read most of his books at this point. A Man Called Uwe, I'm interested for you to read because first of all, that's my favorite of his. I think it's really, really good. I just reread it. I have a feeling you would really like it, but there's a chance Uwe could irritate you so much that like you don't like the book. It's like one or two ways. I don't think you'll give it like a 3.5, 4 star. I think it's a 5 star or like a 2 star for you.
Wasn't Tom Hanks in like a movie?
Yes, he did a movie of it, and it was good. Like it was a good movie, but it was Tom Hanks is too Tom Hanksy, like to play the character as well as I would have cast a different person. It doesn't really suit
Tom Hanks is too well liked.
Yeah,
like,
and he is grumpy in that movie, but like he just doesn't have to work to be not grumpy. Like, he's just Tom Hanks, so like you already have sympathy built in.
Yeah. Sal, what do you mean when it's influencer out? They will never, like, I'll never be influenced. Like, I can't do it. I don't know. I can't. Kyle, sorry, I'm returning to an old conversation. Like, I can't. When I see all these posts on YouTube of like, hey, I'm looking for someone to do some of the work for me. Like, I'm looking for someone to edit my videos. I'm looking for someone to make me my thumbnails. And it's not that I don't like that. That doesn't seem appealing to me. Like, it does. Like the idea of not having to do the part that I hate does appeal to me. However, like I have a really good friend of mine offering to edit my videos, and I've had other people try to help me. Like, people aren't even asked for pay. As opposed to paying someone to do it. It feels like at that point, it feels like it's become clinical or antiseptic. Like, I don't know how you can say that it's personal and has your personal touch if someone else is doing that work for you.
Do you think that's because you really like, I know you don't like editing in and of itself, but you really like those personal touches? You really like the let's get down to business.
That's because that's me. Like, it's got to have bits in it. And otherwise, it's just like, it just seems so assembly line manufactured at that point. But it's still got character with all of the like when people put freaking spin in text on a PowerPoint slide where it's like, oh, look at how much personality this. Just hit appear. Like, just click make it appear. Like, no, you're not fooling anyone that this PowerPoint has personality because you did that. And it reeks to me. And again, if that's you in the chat, there ain't nobody who does that watching this, which is fine. But like, if that's you in the chat, I'm not dogging on you, but I am saying that, like, for me, it just like it just feels disingenuous. Like, it feels disingenuous.
Let me ask you a question. This is not a gotcha, but this is I actually want to know your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
What is your thought on record label companies producing and marketing and helping musicians make records? How is that different? I mean, like, it's different in like the overview, but how is it different from there's an artist trying to do something and there's people around them trying to do the technical side to make it easier for them to do the stuff that they want to do?
Sure, there's a couple things on that. One, I don't necessarily like that anyway. I don't like that becomes a product. Like, record labels are producing a product. I don't consider YouTube a product. Like, and I think when it becomes a product, it just rubs me the wrong way. I'm not trying to make a value judgment. Like, you know, what I think is not reality. But for me, I don't like thinking of creative outputs as product, as something to be manufactured and to be marketed and to be like clickbaited. Like, I don't like things that aren't like, I don't like disingenuousness. I wish the product, the work should speak for itself. Like, it shouldn't have to be goosed and tweaked and fabricated and spun like Jay Allard from Xbox wants to say. And so, but the thing is, like, did the people, no one was listening to their music when they were recording it, editing it, putting it out on their own.
Unless it's Dave Grohl.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they were never shouldering the whole load like the people on Book.
Yeah, I know it's not a perfect analogy. I was just more talking about the fact that the art itself has to be.
I don't like art being product. Like, I do think that, like, I'm okay with people profiting from it. But everything is about principle with me, and it's not perfect, and I'm not completely principled, and I'm not trying to hit my self-righteous drum. Like, if you don't care, that's fine. But as soon as it becomes about profit over, I guess, again, I'm going to say product, but I mean product in like the end result as opposed to something to be sold. Like, when profit is valued over the thing you're valuing, like when people say, well, I have to do this for the algorithm, you don't. You could literally just put out something, especially, and like seriously, guys, can we just not say things that, like, deny things that are 100% true? When you have hundreds of thousands of subs, you can put out crap that you want to do that isn't going to do well. You're just not going to make as much money. You're going to be fine. Like, you're going to be fine. You are not a passion project away from poverty. You're not. Like, that, it's not true. And selling that as if it is true is disingenuous. Like, it is. You can do whatever you want, and it is a self-perpetuating machine because the algorithm already knows you and it already puts you out. Maybe it's not going to feed that video, so you're not going to make quite as much money on that. But let's be honest, guys, you're making most of your money from Patreon. Why are we lying and pretending like it's from ad revenue? You're making most of your money from Patreon, and your patrons aren't leaving because you did something that they didn't watch. They're not. Yeah. So I just don't like, this. I just don't like people putting money above other stuff. And I understand, like, I do understand it. Like, I get it. It's just not my thing. Like, it's not. Like, what if, like, I could make a video where I loved a popular book and then had my thumbnail and title of the video be like, oh man, I hated this. Why were people lying about this particular thing? And then it just be a gotcha where I'm like, oh, secretly I like this. Like, I could do that, but I can't. Like, I can't make myself do it. I have to lampshade it by doing influencer Alan and fake clickbait thumbnails where I'm going, like, on me and Christina.
That thumbnail killed me.
And the one video where it's like life updates where me and Christina are doing this, I only did that because I'm like, oh, look at how fake clickbaity this is. But then because we did that, everyone knew it was a pregnancy announcement. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I didn't want to give it away. Like, but Oh, that's the door. I thought the cats were like throwing
I just want
themselves.
to point out to everybody that Alan is mildly worked up, not actually worked up, but I was intending on not working him up. So this is him just going off on his own flag. Um, because not every time, a lot of the times when Alan and I talk, it gets fake contentious. And I'm actually not trying to do that today. So if he gets riled up, I absolve myself of
Yeah, well, you
responsibility.
can tell because my brow is this. Like my brow is doing this and not this. And this is the I'm sad that it works like this. Like I'm worked up because it doesn't have to be like this, and I'm sick of people. I'm just tired of people acting like it has to be like that. Like if you care about the algorithm, and if that's what it means to you, like if this is for you, just want to maximize profit and like you want to do the most, you want to get the most amount of money and clicks for the least amount of work. That's fine. But then don't pretend like it's about the community. Don't pretend like it's about an artistic outlet. Like, don't say it's one thing when it's another. Like that is what bothers me. It does not bother me that people do this. It bothers me that people feel the need to dissemble about it. Like just admit that's what that's what you do. Like just admit that's why.
It's
So
something that really bothers me in people. I think I've told you this before, but like I feel like it's worth repeating just generally for people in chat, which is that like I briefly was in like the acting world and I was like on sets a lot trying to become an actor. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of really cool experiences. But the reason I stopped doing it is like I did it for like 6 or 8 months, and relative to the amount of time I put in and the amount of sets I was actually on, I was like doing really well. Like I was on, like they were calling me to come to set, stuff like that. So like positive signs were there, but I stopped doing it because I hated 90% of those people that I dealt with every single day, because it's not the actual actors who have put in time. Like I'm not spending time with, Denzel Washington. I'm spending time with all these people who think they can't have a real opinion, because if they have a real opinion, one day that's going to make them not like them. And so every single person is this manufactured, just ooze of just like, and it was so disingenuous every single day, and I just hated being there all the time. So
yes,
I totally get you on that.
I completely agree. Like when someone's every opinion is the majority opinion, that person, like I do not believe that person's like opinions are genuine. Like I can't. And I'm not talking about a specific person, but I'm just like I don't know. Oh man, anyway, like go look. I don't like it when Twitter does who are the best booktubers out there. I'm okay. I am fine when they do who are your favorite booktubers, but favorite and best aren't the same thing, because people say who are the best booktubers, like, oh, and it lists the six booktubers with the highest subs, the 6 most popular booktubers. And it's like, okay, so now we're conflating popularity with quality, which is not necessarily untrue. One does not equal the other, but one doesn't preclude the other. Like you don't have, like, just because you're popular doesn't mean you're not one of the best. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just like, I mean, okay, guys, I really want to ask those people, who do you watch that isn't those 6? And the answer is generally nobody. And I'm not, and everybody be like, well, Alan's just jealous. My students do this all the time. When I dog on fraternities in my classes, because I tell them you absolutely should not join a sorority or fraternity unless you really feel like you need to buy your friends and purchase an identity. But they're always like, oh, Miss Walker hates that. Oh, because you tried to get a fraternity, they wouldn't let you. I'm like, how on earth do I strike you as someone who wanted to be in a frat and was rejected? Like, what kind of vibes do I give off? Like that I'm the fraternity lifestyle. But it's like this, like, oh, Alan's just jealous. I mean, okay. So am I envious that some of these people can do this for a job instead of having to go do the job that if you want to know how I feel about my job, anyone, go watch the last stream where I got
you were quite mad.
I don't usually get actually upset on streams. It's usually like a heightened state of just talking about something. So yes, am I envious that people can do this for a living, especially when when other people are doing their editing and thumbnail making. Yes. But just because I'm envious of that aspect doesn't make my opinion not correct. It doesn't mean what I'm saying isn't true. Like that,
Right.
So
yeah.
Thank you, Bookborn. Exactly. People being Ms. Walker, you're just jealous. Like, okay, you're right. Oh man. Oh, bruh.
Like my universities, I don't know if it's a Canada thing. I haven't looked into it enough, but I've gone to 2 universities here, and I've never even smelt a fraternity. Like I don't even know if they exist in Canada, or if they do, maybe they don't exist in my province. But I'm reasonably certain, unless they were like secret society level, that there weren't any at my universities. And I just think that's better. I'm like,
fun fact.
I have no interest.
Fun fact for everyone: the Greeks didn't wear togas, so when Greek life has a toga party.
Listen. I've said this to Alan before. I messaged you about this specifically once when I was randomly listening to the song. The Lonely Island have a song called "The Golden Rule," and it's with Justin Timberlake and Lady Gaga. The content of the song is irrelevant, but what makes me mad every time I listen to this song is Andy Samberg's like, "This rule dates back all the way to ancient Greece," and then Justin Timberlake. Nobody stopped Justin, and they were like, Justin. Wait, Justin Timberlake says on this song that was released to the world, talking about Caesar, and I'm like, he is not Greek. How did nobody catch this?
First of all, the thing is, I think that's a bit. Like, I think it's
part of the joke.
Yeah, I think it's part of the joke. Because they're stupid. Like those two guys.
Oh yeah, okay, that is fair. They are stupid. Okay, yeah, they're very dumb. But man, it just drives me crazy because people think that all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
no.
Oh yeah. I remember, that trilogy. So I don't really watch those anymore. But like back in the day when the trilogy of the Justin Timberlake, Andy Samberg songs came on,
I still listen to them. My humor has not changed.
But like those guys were stupid. That's how I always took that, talking about C's. I love it.
Okay, that does make it better because I was just like, oh, of course they just think.
I just think they're supposed to be morons.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, the Golden Rule, and it's my in a box. That was the first one, and then the Mother Lover one.
Yeah, Mother Lover. I saw Lonely Island live in Minneapolis with my wife, and like my wife doesn't like going to concerts very much, but the Lonely Island, for whatever reason, like it's not even her humor style really, but she was just like, we got to go. And Lonely Island's done like 5 shows ever, and I think I saw the second to last one. We drove down to Minneapolis to see it, and they put on like a huge production, and it was like really good. But as I was like listening to like, because some of their songs I don't listen to, I was listening to the songs, I was like, oh, this was a time and a place for sure. Like this is not 2023 humor.
It is not. But I mean, like I thought it was funny at the time. It is not the kind of, it's not really the kind of humor no, it's still funny. It's certainly not something that
it's unclean for you.
It is more unclean than what I listen to these days. And it's not, but I mean, I still think it's funny. I've watched all 3 of those, I don't know, like sometime in the last couple of years, because I was like, these were so funny back in the day. And then I'm watching them, I'm like, man, this is just not what I watch anymore. But they were still funny.
So Evie says, speaking of secret societies, what are your all thoughts on in crowds in BookTube?
So I'm no longer in the in crowd. Like it was okay. So I'm speaking of this purely as the world has moved on perspective, and not as a how dare they, don't they know who I am perspective. Okay. So I'm putting a caveat here, because otherwise it's going to sound like I think more highly of myself than I do, which just watch a stream to see my crippling self-loathing. Like there was, I think I saw a thing on Twitter. X, where someone was like,
"Hey, on Twitter."
Because authors were on Twitter. That's really why I joined. I really do have to talk to Sebastian de Castell, Richard Swan, and so I can.
I need to just like create a whole new Twitter and only have authors and like BookTube people on it, because every time I open Twitter, it's like a mixture of just like Patton Oswalt getting really mad about stuff, and then just like authors, and it just drives me crazy. But anyway, continue your story.
It is. I mean, the problem is most of my Twitter is now initialized names where I'm just like, I don't know who you are. It's just too many authors choosing to go by their two initials in their last name, which I just don't understand. But anyway, like I saw they did one of those like, hey, who are the best booktubers, or who are your favorite booktubers that you watch or whatever. And I used to be on a lot of those lists. Like people be like, oh, Alexandria, and it's not that I wasn't mentioned. It's just that like it's just a different like thing. Like I'm not as active anymore, so I'm not on those lists as much as I used to be, and that's why I made that cowboy odd, because like, how dare they? Like, I don't care. It's just like I'm not the in crowd of booktube anymore. Like there's like it's like Saved by the Bell, the new class without quality judgment. Like I
don't even think of it as in crowd. Like it's just too big. Like I don't feel like it works that way. It's just more that like the people that are active generally, they get people to watch them. And
and I mean, I've said this before. There are too many discords. There are too many discords. It segments the community too much. Kyle, you're one of the only people that can be active in everything. You can do more of everything than everybody. So like,
say it louder for those in the back.
I mean, you read more, you can chat more. Like you're able to do it. The average person isn't. And so you basically just gravitate. So this is where the in crowds, or no, I guess this is more just like not cliques, but little subgroupings. Because the in crowds, because there are the popular people. There are absolutely the people who you will get dropped for if, so and so, whatever. Like the people that Kyle would have been like, hey, I got to move you because I got a more important person.
Alan, I asked you to be on the first episode.
I know. No, I know. I was
like, don't give me that.
No, I'm kidding. But I mean, like, I hate that the communities have gotten so small. Like, I liked it when there were, and again, it sounds like, like, oh, back when my Discord was a big deal. It's like, well, I mean, I like Shelf Space before it wasn't my.
Yeah, I got into the community right as Shelf Space was dying, and people started to drift off, and that was why. Like, what's interesting about different Discords is there's obviously different vibes in each one, to the point where like I can talk to the same person in two different Discords in a different style subconsciously. Like I don't even try to, but I just notice I'm like, oh, we interact way differently on this Discord than we do on this Discord because of the overall vibe. And that can be beneficial to people because there are Discords where I don't really like the vibe, so I don't gravitate towards those ones, even if there's more people that I like in them. So it gives people more options. But I totally agree that like you go to all the Discords and most of them have 3,000 different like sections. And theoretically, that's all good. Like in a vacuum, I don't think it's bad to have a Daniel Abraham chat and a Ken Liu chat and all that. Like I understand why it's there. But then what happens is all the people that want to post about those books go in and post each in those instead of in like a general chat where people can be like, well, what are you reading? And then the people who haven't read Ken Liu or Daniel Abraham don't even check that stuff. So then they're not engaging with, but then the opposite is that you just get a bunch of black spoiler bars all the time in your general chat. So there's not really a great, like there's pros and cons to no matter how you do it. But I do agree that Discords have gotten very fractured, and it makes me sad sometimes.
Yeah, it does, because it's just like it used to be. I mean, it just used to be a larger community where at least in one place where everyone did talk, and even if you had those sub chats, the general chat was active enough where it didn't feel quite so sparse. And again, going back to guess what? Every Discord isn't the friendliest Discord on BookTube. Sorry. Like I'm sorry, everyone who makes that claim. Like, I'm so sick of hearing people talking about, yeah, we've got this. I think it's pretty much the best Discord. Like, no, it's not. Like, it's not.
I've never heard anyone call their Discord the friendliest.
Wow, you should. Okay, well,
probably not never. I probably that's not true. I probably have read it and like rolled my eyes a little and then just moved on and didn't like incorporate it into long-term memory.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, so that's not true. Sorry. Like if your Discord's filled with D-bags, it's not the friendliest. I'm sorry. It's just not. I don't know. People say that more often than they should. Did I get rid of some? I apparently booted some mods.
Evie got fired. She doesn't even know about it. She's firing herself.
She didn't. I think
this is her resignation. She's telling you right now she's done.
That's fine. No, if I didn't have them, like my Discord would be dead, because like I am just So I have so many notifications on my phone, Kyle, that I've just like, it's just overwhelming. I haven't addressed any of them. I have got to adjust the temperature in my house. I'm sweating. So it's
All right,
not
sounds
hot.
good.
It's not hot, but it is so humid in here that I feel like I'm dying.
You're in Florida. That's fair. You got to control your temperature. All right, everybody. So while he's doing that, I'm going to walk you guys through some of the stuff that I'm reading because it's a lot. So the first thing I'm reading is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I'm on chapter 4. I think this book is very good. My goal is to finish by the end of the year, and I have 900 pages left, maybe. So, you know, that's going to be a nightmare. And then I'm also reading River of Stars. Actually, I haven't started this, but a bookmark is in it, which means I've started it in my head, which is the next Guy Gabriel K book that I'm buddy reading with some people. Guy Gabriel K is awesome. And then I am also reading, I'm not going to lift it up because it's big, which is House of Chains by Mid Erickson by Stevie, not God Erickson. Steve Malazan is not the end of the world, Erickson. Alan is adjusting the temperature of his house because he lives in Florida, which is constantly like the sweat is its own entity. Like like the humidity is trying to find people in Florida and make them suffer. Like it's an active force. It's not just like a force of nature. It has sentience. And so Alan is trying to combat that by making his house smarter than the sentient humidity. I lived in Florida as a child, and the main thing I remember about Florida as a child is being very, very hot. So,
Anyway, all right, that's better. I turn the fan on. I shut the. The problem is it's raining. It's raining outside. Like it's just been raining for the last several hours, and my computer's now right next to my sunroom, which is outside. But I've got the doors open so the cats and dogs can pass. So the heater was running in there. There was no fan in here or any air at all. So I was just having like humidity and heat coming in from the sunroom.
oh yeah.
And so I closed those doors, shut that heat off, turn the fan on, so I got some air circulating. So hopefully I don't feel quite so.
I had a crazy thing happen. So we just bought this house, and we're like doing a lot of renovations and stuff like that. And somebody came to our door, like a phone company, and offered us like a free security service to if we sponsor, like if we have like a sign in the yard. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. So they came and they like hooked up like all these like cameras and like a new door lock, and they were gonna do like a smart thermometer and all this cool stuff. I was like, cool. And they went to go do the thermometer, and they were like, "Oh, this house is too old. Like, there's not enough wires. You have to get an electrician." And I'm like, "Yeah, sounds good." But when he was trying to do it, he accidentally turned the dial for the thermostat up, and I just didn't check it after. Because like, why would I? So he just like left, and we weren't moved into the house yet, and we were going to another town that day, so we left for like 12 hours. And then we got home. We went back to my father-in-law's house where we were staying, and I was like, I just want to stop at the house real quick for like I don't even remember why, some random thing. And I came in, and I put one foot into the house and I could feel the floor heat under my foot. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but I could hear the furnace going so hard that the floor was shaking. And I was like, the house is on fire. That's what I actually thought. It was like incredibly hot in there. So I go in and I look and there's no smoke anywhere. And I figure out the house isn't on fire. It was 49 degrees Celsius in there, which is 100 no, maybe 105, 110 degrees Fahrenheit in the house. It was insanely hot. All because this guy just like accidentally turned a dial and like didn't
120 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, nuts. Absolutely. Like you couldn't be like it was not like if you were in there for long, like you would like you get heat stroke. Like I was in there for like 10 minutes and I had to just make sure the house wasn't like actually breaking down or anything. And I just turned the heat down and then came back in the morning. But it was insane.
Why did he do that?
I think it was just an accident. It's a dial, not it's an older house. So it's a dial instead of like, a lot of times it's like a button now. So I think he was trying to take off the dial to see the wires. And then when he put it back on and he screwed it on, he just also turned the dial up.
Yeah.
It was an honest mistake, but like he definitely should have checked it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. My bill was double what it is normally. So I don't know, but it also coincided with winter. So like I would have increased anyway, but it was a lot more than I wanted it to be. I think I just have really good like insulation. Like the thermostat itself only went up to like 37, but it was like off the charts of it. So I think it was just chugging along the whole time. I don't really know, but it was nuts. So look what I found the other day at my used bookstore.
Yes, yellow taipan.
So I got yellow taipan, and it has the little like the ones in here. And I noticed I also have white king rat. So on the shelf now, they're really annoying because I have this and king rat next to each other. But then I have Noble House and Shogun, and they're not like that. So I'm like, I guess I just have to get all of these copies. And I looked, and they're cool because they're different colors, each one. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a way better way of having these books. So
yeah, that's why. Like I have 3 copies of Taipan, but only 1 yellow one, and I've got 2 gaijins, but I had to have green gaijin.
Yeah, I want to get green gaijin, but I found the hardcover.
Nice.
Which for anybody who doesn't know, I'm saying this live now. We're reading this in February. Alan has confirmed it, which means immovable. Actually, if we have to move it, that's fine.
It doesn't mean that at all.
I know.
I am hoping. I did, however, during Audible's sale, because Audible actually had a decent sale.
That sale was nuts.
Yeah, they try to say that they have sales like every month, but really they just raise the price of the thing and mark it down to like the regular price. These were like 50, 80% off ones.
I got 70 something bucks.
Nice. I bought I got I Claudius for like $4.
Yeah, I already had it. I almost got the sequel. The sequel was like $7.50 or something, $6.50 something. And it was like I had already gotten enough. I was like, I'm trying to limit myself under $5, but yeah, it was good deals.
Okay, so hold on. So Pete, Kyle didn't plan it in February. I have been planning to read Gaijin for forever. And Gaijin is a book, not an entire series, which is what y'all are trying to do. So they're not even kind of the same, Pete.
Also, we were planning on doing it like this summer. So like planning it in February is just that like Alan got busy. Like
this is late. I have Gaijin on my audio, and every time I finish an audiobook, I'm like, I want to freaking listen to Gaijin, but I can't because then I'll be reading it. I'll have to read that because that's what I did with Taipan. Is I would listen to it in the car and then read it when I was at home, which is exactly what I'm going to do with Gaijin. So that's got to be the thing that I'm doing when we get there.
Did we plan a date for Claudius? I know we were trying to.
I thought we were trying to do it in January.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was January. I mean, we can reassess. Anitha has to be able to join us. Anitha, tell us if you can do.
Anitha and all the people who were reading Augustus and the other.
Yeah, and I know Laura wants to join in for Claudius too. So yeah, that'll be good.
I'm at Claudius in my class. Like I made it to Claudius in the Emperor's teaching. So I'll be teaching Claudius in January. So we definitely should do it. We should definitely do it in January.
So Sal's been trying to get me to read Master of Rome by Colleen McCullen. And here's the thing. I was going through all my books when I was moving in, and I had bought a couple of them used on sale since I moved here when all my books were in storage. And then I had some, and I still thought I was missing like 2 of the 9. And I went and I looked, and I have all 9 now. So I have, and all in paperback. I actually had bought the October Horse in 3 different editions, and I didn't notice. So I donated 2 of them. So I actually might start this series in 2024 because now I own the whole series, and that's usually the time to start.
You want to understand, like, you cannot even kind of compare what Kyle is reading to what I'm reading. Kyle has time. Like, don't let Kyle tell you he doesn't have time to read. He most certainly does. Like, he's just got to slot it into one of his 30 books. I have maybe 3 that
people say that, and it's not like, so there's an element of truth. Like, I read a lot.
I literally just looked at
I know, but listen, I'm going to explain. Like, those books don't have audiobooks, so I have to only read them physically. I'm not going to buy them on ebook. Usually the more editions of a book I have, the easier it is for me, because like if I have an ebook, audiobook, and physical book, I can just read it whenever I need to. So then I'm like, okay, I'll just join in. But if I only have a physical book, I tend to delay it because I have all these other books that I have multiple editions of. So when I finish them, I'm like, I knocked off an audiobook, an ebook, and a physical book off my TBR. So they just kind of go down more.
Click on Bookborn's thing. Bookborn, when have you ever invited me to read a book? Ever? Don't even start with me. Don't start with me with that nonsense. What do you mean refuses? That implies that you said, hey, we should read a book together. And I said, no. Not one time. Bookborn. And the rest of these people are just like Pete says. Where is it? Yeah, they just have to bother me for forever. Dandelion Dynasty is I mean, like, again, returning to that. It's not talked about much now, so I'm probably fine with it. And I do think I would like it from everything everybody's telling me. I just have to get through. I'm really trying to work this year on finishing series that I've started and rereading stuff that I like, because I'm going to reread all of my Parker standalones. I'm going to reread Long Price Quartet. I'm going to reread the Greatcoats, because Greatcoats is the only series that I love that Anitha has not already read, also read. Because I don't know, it's just become a meme that Anitha has read everything that I've read. And so we have to complete the meme.
Right.
And Shadows of the Apt is definitely what I want to finish.
Yeah, I need to continue that. I really liked book 1.
Is that all you've read, book 1?
Yeah, I read it in September maybe, and I really I thought it was really good. But this year I have had trouble finishing series. I finished a ton last year, and I think this year I just had resistance to doing that. I've only finished 4 series this year, and 2 of them got 2 stars on their last book. So I only finished 2 series that I thought ended in a reasonable way. So next year I definitely need to.
My wife is yelling at the dog, which means she's done something. 1 second.
Yep. Oh, so Bookborn says that she and Alan have buddy read a Wexler book that Alan DNF'd, so that's fun. Greatcoats is also a series I want to start. It's on Audible Plus for free, and the narrator is a narrator that I really like. So I actually considered starting it this year. I won't get to it this year, but I do want to start it. It's of all the Alan series, I'm usually pretty sure that I'm going to at least like them. Greatcoats, I don't know. The people who don't like Greatcoats have convinced me on some of the things. The way they talk about it, I'm just I don't think I'm going to like this. But just nice swashbuckling fun is good sometimes. So I don't know where I'm going to land on that. Rogue has only read Empire of Black and Gold, so we'll both be continuing. Hopefully, did you like Empire of Black and Gold, Rogue? Sal, I have no idea how many series I'm in the middle of. I counted in 2022, I had a list of, and it was 22. But then I just stopped updating that, and I started a ton of series this year. So it's probably at 35, 40. It's not reasonable.
I really liked I liked Apt, the first arc, more than
you were the person who convinced me to read them.
Empire Black and Gold is excellent, and I also really like Dragonfly Falling. Because Dragonfly Falling is all war. It is 2 sieges. That's the whole book, and
sounds great.
I think it's fantastic. There is one plot line. There's just one plot. The plot line with the butterfly it's just not good. And it's not good. I can't justify it, and it becomes a problem. And then everyone says book 3 is. Kyle, let me tell you the words that I hate hearing when people talk about series. And if you've said this before, then offense intended, I guess. When people are like, it just felt like a side quest. Shut up. Hush.
Oh, I hate that too. No, I hate that. I'm sure that I have said it, but in very specific instances. But most of the time, I'm oh, I don't just because another plot is set up does not make it a side quest. This is a big thing that bothered me about Tyranny of Faith. Not the book itself, but the discourse around it.
Yeah.
Because there is a part of that book that did feel literally felt like a side quest. They had a main quest, and then they were you need to go do this. They almost said, go do a side quest. They didn't, but they almost did. So then it was actually a side quest.
Yeah.
But then people who finished that book know that it actually ties into the main plot pretty well. So then they finish the book, and then they say, there was just a random side quest. No, it is in fact the main quest now. So
that my big issue, I first heard this a lot when Mike was doing his read along of the Greatcoats, and I happened to be reading it basically at the same time. And Saint's Blood, the third book of the Greatcoats, that is all anyone says. It just felt like a side quest. If it is not a side quest, if the conclusion of the book cannot happen without the stuff that happened in book 3. No, It's still part of the main quest. You just can't see how it connects yet. Like, you cannot have the conclusion of the Greatcoats without what happens in book 3. Like, you can't. Now, does it seem like they're not following the main thread that was in books 1 and 2? It does seem like that, but it's not true. Like, book 4 can't happen without book 3. And that's the same thing that happens here in book 3 of Apt. Is it feels like the main plot is not going forward, but book 4 can't happen without that. And, you know, Tchaikovsky makes some weird decisions, and books 3 and 4 aren't my favorite, but what he is doing, like, the ambition of what he is doing is enough for me to be like, you know what, like, this is really good. Like, it's his first series. Like, are there missteps? Yeah. Do I like everything? No. But what he is doing, one of Christina's hairs is like hanging off of my face, and I'm trying to get it off.
I thought you were just trying to appear wisdomous.
No, if I try to appear wisdomous, I do this because I watched Community, and when Ben Chang goes, "I'm very mysterious," so now I just stroke my mystery beard. But yeah, so we got a lot of that when we did the read along for Apt. A lot of people saying Blood of the Mantis was side questing, and I'm like, I mean, no, like, they're just in a different location than you want them to be in, and it's not, you know, they're not resolving like I guess what you want them to resolve after 2. And, you know, people can say what they want, like, you know, people can say what they want, but
You're on book 5, or you did read book 5?
I am on book 5, so it has been like, it has been
a while.
It's been I think 2 years.
You have not read an Apt book since I've known you. Like, I maybe had talked to you like once or twice, but like since we've been friends, you have not read an Apt book.
It's been 2 years. I read something of the Dark, Salute the Dark. I read Salute the Dark in December of 2021 because I was in Orlando when I read it, and we were visiting family. So yeah, it's been 2 years, and that's sad. I want to get back to it. Everyone was telling me I should get the just the audios and catch up with those. The thing is, I remember most of the plot points of those, which is cool. But I might listen to the audios just to catch up because they're just so good. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I really like the audio. I'm gonna definitely do.
I'm gonna finish the
duel for the
series next year. Hopefully, I'm gonna prioritize it.
Is that your favorite from Tchaikovsky, or would you say it's Guns of the Dawn or City of Last Chances?
They are completely different, and
I know that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
What I think about
does not feel like Empire of Black and Gold, which does not feel like City of Last Chances.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, if I was to do, I haven't done my like top 10, top 15 list authors or whatever because it's very, very hard for me. Tchaikovsky would be the only one on that list. Like, he's probably pretty high. Like, I would be very confident he's in the top 10. But what's interesting is if I was to do like my top 50, maybe even top 75, 100 books, I don't know that he would have a book on there. Like, I like a lot of his books a lot. But it's more like he doesn't have a book I don't like. And I really like a lot of his books. And they're all so different. So I get so many different experiences from Tchaikovsky. So it's like, even if like he doesn't have a character, like I think Emily Marshwick is probably my favorite of his characters. That's maybe the only one that I was like deeply invested in. So like overall, I would give him like an A-, B+ on characters. Cause like I'm never like gung ho about his characters, but it's just always like a really enjoyable experience. And I really value that consistency.
I really enjoy. So I really like Thalric in
I like him too, and I've only read one book. Like a 10-book series, I'm way more likely to get attached to. But like I really like Stenwald too. So
I do too. Stenwald has a questionable decision in Empire Black and Gold that is just like come on, man, like don't be gross. But other than that, I did not like. I want to read Dresden also, but again, like I don't.
This is a series you should read on just audio. It's straightforward enough that you could totally do it. Even as somebody,
I tried. I really struggled with. I liked Grave Peril almost the least because I listened to it only on audio, and I'm like, my mind just drifts. I just have a really hard time. I could do it if I was doing both, like I'm doing with Dived In, or if I'm listening to it when I'm on the commute and reading it. I had a really hard time with Grave Peril just listening to it, and not that it's not good. I just miss stuff, especially when there's mystery.
Peril, yeah. So I would say, like, I'm not saying now just try the Summer Night, just doing that. But if you were to just randomly start doing one, Grave Peril is almost the worst one because the first two were just like little like mystery books,
Mhm.
and then they have like a conclusion. And so is Grave Peril, but Grave Peril actually introduces a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And so you're getting a lot of like foundational world building at the same time. So like I totally get why that would be. But I didn't read the first Dresden book I read physically was the 5th one, and that was just because my library for whatever reason didn't have it.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm not going to spend a credit on this mid series. So I just went out and got like a used paperback, and I really liked it physically.
Yeah.
But that was the first time, like, I didn't even know the spelling of some of these people's names.
Like, I think I'm gonna reread Grave Peril, and I want to read Dresden, but again, it's a series. Like next year, like I'm going to I'm just gonna read series. Like if I read the first book, guess what the next book I'm gonna read is? It's gonna be the second one of that. Like I'm going to go back to what I liked doing before I started doing BookTube, which is just reading the dang books, like just reading the freaking series, because I stress out so much about what I'm gonna pick up next. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying without exception, but like there's no anxiety if it's like, okay, cool, I finished this. I'm just going to go on to book 2. Like, that's just what I'm going to do. And it's not like I produce 3 videos a week to where all anybody's going to get is that content. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't do anything anyway. So who cares? You know, I'm not putting out content regardless. So I might as well just read what I want to read.
In general, I think it's a little overblown. Like I understand the impulse of like, you know, booktubers being like, oh, like I got to diversify the content. I think that's just way overblown. For
Yeah.
most people, the amount of time it would take you to read a series and then convert that into content is not going to have a noticeable fatigue effect on your audience, unless you're, I mean, like, look, anybody can go overboard. Like if you're reading Malazan, and every Malazan book, you read it and then you do like a mid book update, and then you finish the book and you do like a full spoiler discussion. Like, I mean, for sure you could like burn out your audience on a series, but like just generally speaking, if you just go and read a whole trilogy or a whole quartet, that's going to be like what, 3, 4, 5 videos worth of time. You're going to have a TBR in there. You're going to have a wrap up. Like it's just not as bad as people make it out to be. So people should just read some stuff that makes them happy and then work the content around that.
The only thing that makes it hard is when you're doing like read-alongs and you want to discuss it, because then you kind of everyone kind of has to do it at the same time, which I like, and that's fine. And that is totally fine. So, but yeah, so you know, I don't want to read one Dresden a month. Like if I read Dresden, I want to like pick up Dresden, and then now will I read the whole thing without reading anything else? Not a chance. But like I would read like 2 or 3 Dresden books like back to back, and then then move on, and then come back and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I want to do.
I don't think you should reread Grave Peril. I think you should just move on.
But I don't remember anything from Grave Peril okay. In Grave Peril, Jim Butcher had a chance to really impress me. Like, and I thought he was going for it. I was like, he's gonna go for it. In book 3, he's gonna do this thing, like, and he's gonna go, and then he walked it back. And I'm like, man, like, listen, why are authors so cowardly? Like, why is everybody such a coward?
You'll have to tell me what you mean off air, but
I'll type in the private chat right now.
Okay, but I will say that it just Dresden, like you need to read them sequentially, and like you shouldn't like skip books if you can help it and stuff like that. Oh, okay, sounds good. But like I truly don't believe like Dresden is really good for reminding you about important stuff, and like if you end up really loving the series and you want to be like, oh, I really want to refresh myself on Grave Peril because I kind of didn't give it a good chance, then I think, but like. In terms of opportunity cost, you're already reading so many things. Right. I think you should just go on to Summer Night.
I don't know why I didn't just also think about what Sal said. I'll just freaking like
read a summary.
Grave Peril. Yeah, I'll just read the summary.
Yeah, there's really good wikis for Dresden because it's so popular.
And I believe, and any summary will mention the things that are introduced and whatever.
But like even like Dresden, like every book, like they'll be like, here's Bob, and like you know who Bob is, but he's like, Bob is my floating dead head friend that is a pervert. Like, I mean, it still tells you like every time. So
yeah.
I don't. No. I hate this. I will fight this all the time. I skipped multiple books in the Wheel of Time for a purpose. It made sense, and I could follow along because nothing happened in those books that I missed. I would not recommend that for all series because most series are not like that. If you skip 6 books, you will be very, very confused. I don't know a single series where I would suggest that again, Evie. So stop trying to rile me up. I regret that I did that. I mean, I don't regret that I did that. I regret I told people I did that. I should have just pretended that I read the whole series. And nobody would have been able to know that I didn't. I'd just be like, Crosswords of Twilight is terrible. The end of 8 books, book 8 is good. Like, I would just say all the things everybody says, and people would be like, yeah, he read those. What are you looking up? You look like you're looking something.
I'm trying to send a message about something. I said, "Hey, do y'all want to do this tomorrow?" And then I was like, "Wait a minute, no, I can't. I lied." So ignore it. But yeah, I like I want to read the Dresden books. Like there's just stuff I want to catch up on that I'm just sitting on and for no reason.
Did you finish that Ed McDonald trilogy?
Yeah, the
I started that last night. I started Blackwing last night.
I really enjoyed it. It's not like it's not like one of my favorite series, but I do like a lot of what he does with it. I liked the second book the least, but I liked book 1 and book 3 a lot. And I like the second book also. It was just my least favorite.
You can skip books in Dresden, Anita, because they're episodic, and the fantasy reader community has some sort of like mental block about skipping books and series, because in fantasy books you can't really skip that much.
Yeah.
But in non-fantasy series, a lot of times people are like, I'm going to release my 70-second thriller book featuring the same character, and they can't expect every single person to have read all 77 Lee Child books. So you can pick them up whenever. And Dresden's like that too, until a certain point. I mean, Dresden gets much bigger in scope, but you can skip. And you know what? I will say right here and now, Jordan from Jordan Reads read the first Dresden book, and she DNF'd the series. And I was like, you should read 5, skip 6, read 7, and go on. And everybody just gave me a bunch of shit for that. They were just like, I can't believe you tell her that. And you know what? She just finished book 10 and said it was really, really good. And she's starting book 11 right away. So y'all haters can suck it. I know what I'm talking about.
Did she literally skip those books? Did she do 5 and then skip 6 and then 7?
She read 1, did not like it. Read 5, thought it was okay. Read 7 onwards, and then like it's been getting progressively better for her, which is exactly what I said would happen because I know her. So yeah, Blood Rights is good in one sense, but very mid for other reasons. Alan's not going to like Blood Rights as much.
Almost certainly not.
Yeah.
It really just depends on what the fantasy, what the like supernatural aspect is.
It doesn't though. Like in the beginning, later on, it doesn't matter. It's just way more complex than the early books give you.
Word.
What else was I going to talk to you about? I still have to read this book here. Have you done the live show for this?
No, I think it's next Wednesday. We're going to do it.
I was going to try and do it before the live show, but it's not going to happen.
Oh.
But yeah, you've been kind of mid on that series, huh?
No, I really liked the series. They were just for that particular book, I really liked most of that book. I really struggled with book 2, but only because the shoehorning was real. It just felt so, here we have to make things happen so that it will agree with what happened in Rift War. And it just didn't make, a lot of it didn't make sense to me. And then this book mostly stops that. But there's like one section of that book where I'm like, I don't care. Why is this what we're focusing on? What are you doing? And then when that little thread ends, it gets really, really good again. And then the epilogue. And this is like the people who tell Dark Tower readers to skip the ending, like skip that last part. This is like that. No one should read the epilogue. You should literally just.
Who skips the ending of the Dark Tower? That's not the bad part. Like, well,
I mean, that's what it says. That's what Stephen King tells people in the text. Like, it's like, hey, so readers, you shouldn't continue this. You should stop.
What are you talking about?
In the Dark Tower.
You mean the Gunslinger or the Dark Tower?
I
know. Okay, when he's like, you can stop here. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. That's just narrative flair. That's not real. That's
not true. I knew people in college who did not, who like wouldn't read it.
No. I sorry. Let me clarify. I know that other people would say that because they're babies. Yeah. But I don't think Stephen King actually intended for people to be like, read this. Like, that is a narrative flair he's trying to do. Yeah. Like in Sun Eater, which I know you haven't read, but at the end of every Sun Eater book, Hadrian's all melodramatic, and he's just like, dear reader, stop if this has been too much for you. I, however, will continue.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, okay, man.
That sounds insufferable.
I mean, listen, I think you will really like Sun Eater, but I do think you will have lots of issues with Hadrian. But I was over exaggerating because it's funny.
Yeah. But yeah. So I hated the epilogue of Mistress of the Empire. Like
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know how an epilogue could make me feel that bad. So like I'm gonna have to see.
I hated it. Like I cannot overstate how much I despised it. I was just like, I didn't like it.
You know what? This is not the same. I sure you dislike this more, but I did not like the epilogue to Bookshops and Bone Dust at all. Like I think it harmed my enjoyment of the whole book. So I can see an epilogue having that big of an effect. Yeah.
Is that true, Sal? Is that actually tacked on? And if that's the case, why? Why was that tacked on? Anyway. But yeah, so I enjoyed the series overall. I did enjoy the series overall. I did not. I think the holistic experience is worth reading. I think it's a series worth reading. I just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like bits and pieces of it.
So Rogue, I just reread Empire of Silence, and I thought so. I gave it 4 stars initially, and then I gave like pretty much the whole rest of the series 5 stars. And I thought on reread I would give Empire of Silence a 5-star because I'm like, oh, now I love this character, this world, seeing the beginnings. And I reread it, and I was rereading it with Jordan and Alex, tall guy Alex, and they were like just so pumped to be back in the world, and so was I. But I was like, this is still noticeably weaker than the rest of the books. Like I didn't have that like post series glow up. I was still like, this book needed some outlining. Like he really, and Rocchio says he didn't learn how to outline until the second book, and the plotting for the rest of the series is just way better, way more fluid. I would give Howling Dark a try because it's just such a noticeably large step up in every direction. But if you don't like Howling Dark, then like it's just not a series for you.
And yeah, she's talking about Mistress, Sal.
Yeah, for Mistress. You don't read a lot of sci-fi, huh?
Almost like no. I thought like it's not that I don't like sci-fi. It's just it's not what I reach for. I like Fire Upon the Deep, which no one has read except for Kai. So good for you, Kai.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think I've heard it from Kai and Nick.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed Fire Upon the Deep, but I read it many years ago.
Isn't it spiders?
That's Children of Time.
Well, I know that. Isn't there also spiders in Fire Upon the Deep?
Dogs.
Oh, I don't know why I thought that. I know Children of Time. I've read it. Like, I just thought
the alien race are called the Tines. They're like a group of dogs that share a hive mind, and it's just really good. And I've read like Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion, and I've read the Enders books, and I just don't read a ton of sci-fi, and I don't really know why. I think it's just because I have too many fantasy books I want to read.
Yeah, I mean, I just gravitate towards fantasy more, and like, I mean, I read Red Rising this year, and I loved it, and like, I mean, the first series is good, but Pierce Brown does a lot of stuff in each of the books that like bother me. But the sequel trilogy I really liked so far. But yeah, like I just finished House of Suns, and it was one of the books like that I asked booktubers to recommend me for the year. And it was from Jonathan Words in Time, and he like went through my like Goodreads of like sci-fi that I've read and like other books that I've read. And he's like, I think you'll really like this one. Like, and he pitched it, and he just like threw it at me. I was like, yeah, man, pumped. And like it was good. Like I don't think it was a bad book, but I was just like, man, I don't know. Like I think it's like his favorite book of all time or something like that, or like it's one of his favorite sci-fi books of all time. And I was just like, yeah, like it's good. Like I just had no emotional investment. I was just reading it, and I was like, yeah, it was good. And I just think I'm way less likely to feel that way about fantasy. I just get more invested. I don't know. Like it's just something about a lot of sci-fi is just
I mean, I agree. It's hard to, I don't know. It's just hard to get attached. So I do want to read Culture Rogue. I have considered Phlebas. I want to read it. Like, it's not that I don't want to read it. It's just that I'm too behind on everything else. So
what is your end of the year TBR looking like? Like, what are you trying to finish before the end of the year?
It doesn't look like anything. Like, it's just terrible. So I'm the only thing that I am guaranteed to read this month is book 3 of the Engineer Trilogy. That I will finish that. But here are the other options. That theoretically I'm supposed to read The Dispossessed with Joanna, which I completely forgot about. So she reminded me here on the stream. But also I have the arc of, I don't know why February 6th, 2024 is where literally every book is being published. I guess they just decided to release them all at once. Because I have an arc of House of Open Wounds, which is
That doesn't come out in February.
It does in America.
It comes out in March.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, that's the one that's not February. But I have Crucible of Chaos, which is the next Great Coat book, February 6th, and then it's Trials of Empire, which is the third Justice.
Yeah, I'm starting that in January.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there with arcs of those, and another one that also comes out then. But I also have the House of Open Wounds one, and also I need to read Tori's book.
Alan, I have 29 arcs that I have not finished.
I know, but the difference is you could finish that in a month, and
I can't. No, I can't. I make mistakes all the time. I'm like, this book sounds good, and then I get more. I'm like, why do I do this to myself? I'm always behind, and you know what? It's fine. When there's you know what I still haven't done? The Will of the Many that came out in like May or whatever.
Dude, me too. That's the only arc that's the only arc I've never read, but I haven't read before it came out. The other February 9th one is that new Robert Jackson Bennett book, The Tainted Cup or whatever. Cup.
So yeah, like, is it like a personal philosophy that you need to get it out before the book? Because like I just don't care. Like they gave me a personal
philosophy of I said I was gonna do it.
No, you didn't. You didn't sign a contract. You're trying. It's good intentions. Like
I told NetGalley by taking it that I was going to.
They do not say do it before they try to get it up, please. But like it doesn't delete.
Try to get it up. Well, then I like to be ahead of the curve. Like you know that you're the only one who's ever called out the I don't know what it was, but you said something that was like 100% true about me and like popular stuff. It was one time in a Discord somewhere.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It was I don't know. It was something about like I don't like latching on to the hype train. I like being the conductor of the hype train or something to that. Yes, that's it, Evie. Like I like being before the hype because otherwise people think that I'm copying and I have a personal like anathema.
What's interesting about you is that you both like to be before the hype, but you also don't like to be before the hype because if something gets really popular, you're just like, I liked it before it was popular, man. The world has moved on.
It's because I don't ever get the credit.
I genuinely think that you are the single biggest pusher of Long Price Quartet at becoming Long Price Quartet is still a niche series, but like in terms of our circle, a lot of people have read it or are planning to read it, and I think that's because of you.
That's I'll take that. Like
and KJ Parker. You think Anitha woke up 2 years ago, just like waking up, just can't wait to love me some KJ Parker, baby? No, of course not. That's
anyone has ever said that in their lives, and no one's ever said that ever. But yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. But
so Sal said, "What is the max in a month that you've ever read?" I do not track it, and like, look, I know I post those like wrap ups.
It's like 36 books,
and then you guys all freak out about them. But like, I don't do that to be like, look at how much shit I read. Y'all are weak. I just like that's actually what I read, and I want. What?
You're flexing.
I am not flexing. I'm really not.
You're like, ugh.
I'm not flexing. But I can't not say that I read something if I read it. And I don't want to not. If I was making videos, I actually would be less likely. I would be more likely to not do it because then I'd be like, "Oh, I talked about the stuff I really want to talk about." If I don't mention something, that's okay. But if I'm doing a wrap up and that's the only place that I'm mentioning what I'm reading, I just feel like I should put everything in there. And it's always like like novellas and random shit that I just pick up out of nowhere, and so it looks really big. And I know that I read a lot, but I'm like, I promise it's less than it looks like because some of it's just like a novella I read in like an afternoon, and it's just fine. It's just fine. It's not a big deal. But I don't actually try it. Like I know now that I've read over 300 books this year, but I only knew that mid-November because I don't set a Goodreads challenge because I don't care. I just want to know. I want to be able to track it year to year and like know totally. So near the end of the year, I just put like 100 books and then Goodreads will tell me how many I've read. So I have no idea the max that I've read in a month because it's over 30 for sure, but that includes novellas, and who counts novellas really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I do, because then it gets me closer to my Goodreads gold. So I was very fortunate enough to have read like a beta version of Play of Shadow, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm so sad it hasn't been released yet. But I started Crucible of Chaos, and it's not that I don't like it. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, yes, back in the Grey Code stuff. But the formatting of the arc is very bad, where there
I
are
hate that. I hate that.
so there are no paragraph breaks. There are barely, like, it's like a 3-space indentation. Otherwise, it just looks like a huge block of text, and it's very hard for me to read. So
yeah, the UK NetGalley, I don't know. I'm calling out UK NetGalley. I have UK and American, and so sometimes books are only on the UK, so I get them. And the UK, it's just run by an intern, like on a coffee break. I don't know what's going on with them, but they need to get themselves together, because I will get an arc from both, because I'll apply for one and not hear back for a while, so I'll apply at the other and get a notification right back away. So I'll get both. The book comes out on the same day. The US one will be formatted properly, and it'll just be a slag of text in the UK one. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, I cannot read this, so I just won't.
Why do they do that?
I don't understand. Like, it's one thing if it's like sometimes you get an arc and a book comes out in like 8 months or something, and I'm like, okay, they probably just actually haven't formatted it. Also, I just want to say, Esme not only reads more than me, she reads a lot of books that don't have audiobooks. Like, she reads a lot of self-pub, which means like just much less likely to have audiobooks. So Esme is the true champion of reading, and she doesn't get that credit because she's insane. But
okay, now hold on. Let me ask Esme something. I probably am not allowed to ask this because it looks like I'm putting my thumb on the scales. But Esme, what is with the one? Like, what's with the one? Wait, maybe it's not your group. Hold on, maybe it's not your group. But if it, hold on, I'm going to accuse you as if it's your group, and then you can tell me if it's not. What is with the one person in your group freaking like just tanking Wickwire Watch? Like, everyone liked it, and you got one person in your group who gave it a 5. What is wrong with that person? And can you suplex them, please, and tell them their taste is bad? Because that 1.5 is going to sink the whole book. It sunk that entire rating. Freaking, this is why democracy doesn't work.
We'll return to your regularly scheduled Alan ranting in a minute. But I will say, Evie, I don't want to create my own spreadsheet because Goodreads will do it for me. So why would I not let them do the work?
No, the one person wasn't Esme. Esme loved it.
I'll get back to this. Okay. So who was it? Like, I don't know the situation. Somebody on her team just like hated Wickwire Watch.
On the Stifbo thing, some of them are groups of reviewers, right? And they take the average of what everyone in the group gave it. And everyone in that group, I'm sitting there looking at the reviews because I saw the relatively low rating overall of Wickwire Watch. And I'm like, how? And so I looked at it and I'm like, these reviews are great. And then I realized it was a group of people. And I'm like, oh, hold on. So this is good. This is good. What's the problem? Then I get to the bottom one. The person gave it a 5. Everyone else is like 9.
Was it Bookborn? Did she join a different team and give a low rating on purpose?
Hacksaw didn't get a handle on it. But I'm just like a 5. What? Like, I'm like, now I'm tracking this person. Like, now I have notifications for anytime this person says anything online. I'm going to follow every other one of the finalists that they judge and see. And I'm going to look and I'm going to see the second they give something over a 5. What do you mean you didn't like the pacing? Oh, you know what I'm sure is going to have great pacing? Whatever freaking Regency Romance with Dragons comes across the table this time. I'm sure those have frenetic pacing, edge of your seat. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. That makes me so mad. I didn't like the pacing either. I didn't love the fact that there's 100 pages right in the middle that is basically cozy fantasy. Who cares? It's so good. Anyway.
Alan, this is the author's fault.
It's
because she used her first name instead of doing 2 initials.
You're right. If she had J something Hagen, would have liked it.
I'm actually really excited to read the Wickwire Watch.
That's the other book for December. Is like I want to read the second one of that I've had forever and just haven't been able to.
Someone asked earlier, I'm not going to go up and find it, but they asked if we're going to read Baptiste Payson Wu's Undead Samurai's book, and I definitely am. Alan still needs to read Heroes of Chaos.
What do you think I want to do? I want to read. Someone's writing fiction about the Three Kingdoms now. Like Baptiste just has a style where like there's some pretty modern slang in 3rd century China. But what is the thing, Kyle, that you commented on that he says?
Honestly, I forget now. I said it in my review. Yeah. I actually think so we talked about it, like me and him. And he's like, yeah, as a historical fiction author, Baptiste, if you read this or watch this, I'm trying to not put words in your mouth, but he's like, yeah, it's hard being a historical fiction author because you kind of have to toe that line. I'm like, I totally get it. And part of it is just like he thinks it sounds better to an audience, I think, and I'm like, that's fair. I don't think so.
There's every now and then one that's like really like I'm just like it's just hard for me to hear coming out of but I really liked Yellow Sky Revolt. Like I want to read the other two. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. I think I was a bit of an outlier where I didn't like book 2 as much. But book 3 is by far my favorite. It's a really good book.
Very cool.
But yeah, his Undead Samurai book sounds good. It's premise that needs to be done more often, and it has Musashi. Yeah, I got tongue tied there for a second. So that should be pretty good. There's just like so much in Self Pub, and I'm just like, I wish I didn't read it. Like, I mean, I obviously do because it's like there's great books in Self Pub, but I just like now I'm just always like, oh, there's all these books and series. Like, I really want to try the Philip Quaintrell series next year because I got the first 3 on that Audible sale because they were like $3.50 or whatever. But that's a 9-book series, and I'm like, man, trilogies just went out the window.
I know. Yeah, see, I thought Wickwire Watch was going to be a trilogy, and then they're like, it's a 7-book series, and I'm like, no, stop. It's too long.
I will say, it doesn't like so. Some people really like to binge series or like be able to remember everything. And I think you're one of those people, but I don't get like if a series is going to be long and I'm reading it as it comes out, that doesn't bother me because like by the time I get to the next one, like I'll have read so much that I'm just like, oh yeah, now the next one's out. I'll just read it.
I used to love it before I started booktube when I was younger. Like the longer the series was, the better, because then it means it didn't end. Now but I also didn't have a backlog coming out of my ears back then. So it's like, because I'm chained. If it's a series and I like it, like I'm chained to it, and I can only read like 3 books a month. I don't know what happened. I've gotten more tired, or I don't know. Sarah and I talk about how when you get out of the habit of filming and editing videos, it becomes a massive chore. Like it's not fun anymore. It becomes
that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah. When you're in the habit of it, it's fine. It's just something you do. But once you have gotten out of the habit, it's just something that's really, really difficult to get back into.
Yeah. So I didn't really have space to film when I was living at my other place. Yeah. And I'm setting up an office in the basement, but we're waiting on flooring. So for now, I'm just using this room, which is like fine. So I could film videos now, but now I haven't set up any of the stuff in like 9 months. And I'm just like, just the idea of doing it. I actually, I had an idea. I might still do it, and if I do it, at least now you'll know about the joke ahead of time. But realistically, I probably won't. I had an idea to co-opt you and just do a 5-minute ranking Roman emperors video, and just like be absurd. Just be like, Commodus is the best because I really like Joaquin Phoenix. Just absolute absurd shit, and then you'd be like, oh well, I have to do one that's the real one. Because you've been delaying on that for months.
I have right here. This is my to-do list of things that I need to do. And I've got a schedule. I have like literally 6 things that I need to schedule that I've just been delaying because the idea of scheduling it stresses me out. So I just haven't done it.
So would you say for people listening that are trying to schedule things with you, should they reach out to you to schedule these things?
Yes, but the thing is Laura has, and I just equivocate. And I'm like, yeah, eventually. Basically, someone has to reach out and be like, hey, does this date and time work for you?
Yeah, that's what I learned. I asked you to do this like 3 times. And you were just like, yeah, man, totally. And I was like, whether you're like, sometime. And I was like, all right, I'm setting a day and time.
Yeah. And then you're like, does this day work? And that's just much easier because so Christina had to learn this, and I'm not saying she had to learn this. She's just like, Christina, do you want to back me up on this? So one thing that I struggle with is my job. I have to make, first of all, again, everyone knows I have autism or whatever, but at my job, I have to make, you know, they say like teachers make like something like 10,000 micro decisions a day or something like that. And making decisions is stressful for me on the spectrum. So when I come home and, you know, Chrissy's gonna mean to, but she's like, so do you want this or this or this or this for dinner? Or we could do this or we could do this. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what we do. Like, please just pick a decision. And it's just innocuous. Like, it's a little innocuous, like, you know, decision about the evening. And I'm like, I cannot make even one more decision today.
I'm
like,
the Christina in this scenario because, I mean, like, I'm sure that's worse because of you being on the spectrum, but like my wife is the same way. Like, people just get the decision fatigue. So she'll come home and I'll be like, what do you want to eat? And she's like, I can't.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, but I need a direction. She's like, literally whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll just make some stuff.
Yeah. And Alan, it's not that he'll say he doesn't care, but he does kind of care. So I have to present it as, I was planning on doing this. Let me know if you'd like to do something else.
Yeah.
Yes, that's ends up what I do. Because I know, like, I want pizza. But I know my wife doesn't want pizza. So I'll be just like, all right, I'm just going to order a pizza. And then like 30 seconds will go by and she's like, I actually don't want pizza. I'm like, I know you don't, but now we've narrowed it down. So, you know, it's a process.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so anybody trying to schedule something with me, guys, that's literally why. It's not that I'm not trying to be difficult. I can't sit down and devote the brain power to trying to decide when to do it. So it's much easier if that's what Evie just did. Evie just did with Mistress of the Empire live show. She's like, do you want me to handle it? And she had to ask me that more than one time because she asked me, do you want me to handle that? And I had to, and I was like, I can't make this decision right now. And so she had to ask me again. And then I think I was finally like, yeah. And then, you know, she went and said, she worked it out with the other people and then said, Alan, does this time work for you? This day and time work for you? And I'm like, okay, yeah, that should be fine. Which is just, it just makes it sound like I'm a diva. I'm not. I just can't do it. Like, I can't make one more decision. I can't. It's too hard. It's too hard.
Reasonable.
I mean, you're the one that thinks that.
I don't want to like steamroll him and just be like, well, we're doing this. And he doesn't want that either. He doesn't want to feel boxed in. So figuring out the like, I will make a statement. I will leave room for you to provide input. I will not require your input. But it's
Christina,
like,
you should be a counselor. I think you'd be really good at it.
I think she would too.
Well, my aunt is actually going to school for counseling, and I think my cousin is into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Hannah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Sal, I should let y'all set up a calendar for me. Because and then Christina could use it too. Because she tries to schedule stuff with me too. And I'm like, okay, like, because the thing is, Christina's like, we'll make a to-do list. I'm like, I can't decide. Like, I can't decide what needs to go on the to-do list. Like, I can't do that one task.
And then once it's there, it's overwhelming because we've made a list, but then he's just sort of like, I can't do all these things in one day. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, just pick the one that makes the
look at this list. Like, the pencil, this is all Christina's handwriting. The black in pen, like, that's stuff I added finally at the end because I'm like, I can't make this to-do list. You do it.
It is hard to know where to start though sometimes.
Yeah,
what is the reset for you? Is it like going to bed and it being a new day, or like if you like go do video games for a while, do you then feel like you've reset the cache and you can like?
So no, here is when my cache is reset: 3-day weekends. Because the problem is I run constantly on an unreset cache because Saturday is me resetting my cache, but Sunday I am stressed out because I have too much to do because I didn't do anything on Saturday because I recharged, and Sunday I have to go to work the next day. And so I'm stressed out about what I have to do the next day and getting ready for school and trying to do the things that I need to do. But when I have a 3-day weekend, I use Friday to recharge. And then Saturday, those are my best days. I get the most work done that day because I have the time. I'm not at work the next day. And so I can get that done on Saturday, and then I can just be stressed on Sunday and it starts coming. But
it drives me nuts that we're still on a 5-day work week. all the science ever done in any direction is like, actually a 4-day work week. See you, Christina. Actually, a 4-day work week is better for the company's productivity and for people's mental health and joys of living. And companies are like, but if I'm paying people, they're gotta work. And I'm like, but that
work there. I don't know anyone except someone who is in love with work, and those people hate their families and don't have hobbies. Yes, it is, Christina. I don't know anybody who would rather work 5/8 than 4/10s. I don't know any of them, because the thing is, once you're there, staying 2 hours is not hard. Like,
well, so that's not the actual the idea is that you would pay people their same salary but give them 4-day weeks. And the reason companies bump against this is that then they're paying people for a day that they're not there. But the studies have shown that if you give people a 4-day work week, even if they're still working less hours, like if they are only working 32 hours a week, they will get more done on average in that 32-hour week than a 40-hour week, because they're not wasting time because they're tired and because they're more focused and they've had more time to recuperate and all these other things. So like, I'm sure there are professions where that's not the case, or like people where that would not work with. But just speaking generally based on the science that we have, having people work less hours actually improves productivity. But companies are really against that because that's just counterintuitive to the mentality that they're in.
No, I know, but I don't know why they like. But if you were still working 40 in those 4 days,
yes, I do think it would be better. Yeah, to have.
I don't know what the complaint is. Well, how can they still complain? Because now they're still working the same amount of time. Like, why are you bitching and moaning? There's studies. First of all, there are many Japanese companies that now like require nap time for their employees, and productivity is improved because these people get to freaking rest and they're not so tired. And the 4-day work week thing works even when it's not a 3-day weekend, even when you're off on Wednesday in the middle of the week, because you can recharge on Wednesday for those next 2 days instead of. That's the problem. Like what I just described, that's what the science says is people are they spend a day recharging and then they're stressed from having to go to work the next day. So it's not actually restful at all. But even if you have Wednesday off and you don't have a 3-day work week, you still aren't burning out for 5 straight days. You have 2 days, you work, you take a break, 2 days, 2-day break, back to work.
I agree with Jimmy on this, but this is a 9 to 5 skewered bias that everybody seems to have, because I work evenings and I don't give a damn if it's a 10-hour shift. Like sometimes I just go into work and then somebody's like, oh, somebody called in sick. I was like, that's fine. I'll close today. And I just work longer because I just don't care. Like there's nothing going on at 1 a.m. But I agree. If you work at 9 to 5 and you have to now work at 9 to 7, that just like screws up your evening so much. So, I mean, yeah, for sure.
I am a like, look, the 4-day, there are places in, I don't know. I would love 4-day school schedules. There are places in Texas that have gone to the 4-day school week. And I think the kids would do better. Like they're not going to forget more over that 3rd day than that extra day than they are over the weekend. Like the kids forget because they don't care to learn it. If they gave a crap about learning it, they wouldn't forget it over 3 days.
Listen, that's anybody who's trying to scapegoat that they're not going to remember. That's just tomfoolery. That's not half the reason at all. There's nobody that like, that's not how memory works in any sense of the term. So that's just lies.
We have an accord. Like, I completely agree. Why do y'all like living room me so much? Why do y'all like living room? I mean, I'm happy.
I don't know. I do too. Like when I didn't say anything, but when I'm like, oh, he's back in the living room. I don't know. It's the Alan vibe. It's not the same.
I agree. If it's the vibe, then I completely understand that. It is the vibe. But the thing is, Kyle, I moved it out here because I've been talking about this on the streams, that I don't like being back in my office because it's in the back of the house. My wife's out here. It's like, I don't like being back there alone doing work because I can't talk to Christina unless she like actually comes in there. And so I feel like so separate from everything, from my pets, from everything. And when I'm on the couch, I cannot convince myself to just go back there and do work. So I have been not editing. I haven't been doing any kind of work. And so I'm like, I'm going to move it out here because I'm going to see if that helps me with my productivity. And I have done more work on this computer in the last week since it's been here than I had in the previous 3 months, because it is really easy for me to move to the couch to here and then start working on some slides, some work or something, rather than sitting on the couch scrolling. So in like, if I've got 10 minutes, I'm not going back to the office, but if I've got 10 minutes, I'll just move here and start doing this. So I have been more productive out here than I have been back there. So that makes me happy.
Yeah. It's funny just how like little strategies like that can help. Cause like I get like that too. Like if it's not something that I find personally important, like if it's an external, so like I don't need to have the book that I want to read out for me to remember that I want to read it, because I want to do it anyway. But if there's like a chore or like a thing I need to do, having a visual reminder is very important for me to just like, I just forget. Like my wife will be like, "Can you clean the tub?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." But like if I don't put like, you know, a glove on the tub or something, like something to just like visually remind me to do it, I just won't do it. So if I don't do it, then I'm like, oh, like I promise I'm not just trying to not do something. It's just like I just need those little things. I had a thought and I lost it. Oh, I'm the total opposite of you. Whereas that like this room is like my bedroom is right there. So like my wife isn't here today.
Yeah.
And if she was, like, it would be fine that I was in here, but I would prefer if she was here for me to be in the basement.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like I'm not bothering her. It's not like I say anything that I wouldn't want her to hear, but it's just like she's hearing a lot of like contextless noise. So I would just rather be far away from her, just in my own little corner. But I totally get why somebody wouldn't want to be like just sanctioned off from their whole life to do stuff.
Yeah. I have to, Kyle, I have to pull out books and put them somewhere because I'll forget that I want to read them. Not the immediate ones, not like this is a read along, I have to read this. Or like I don't have to pull out a KJ Parker book to know that I want to read it. But like other stuff that I'm wanting to read, like I forgot Wickwire Watch 2 just a second ago when I was telling you I want to read it. That's why it's literally off the shelf it's on something somewhere, because it's out there, so I'll remember it, because otherwise I'll forget that, hey, no, I want to read that book.
I should say, I'll forget I want to read a book. Like I have like a stack of books on here that's like my next couple TBL. Like I have River of Stars sitting next to me. I haven't started it yet. That's to remind me like, okay, I need to start that book. But like if I'm going to start a book in the next couple days, or if I've started it, I then don't need, because I'm already reading it. Like I have hundreds of books. So yeah, I need a visual reminder for that stuff. And same like Jimmy was saying with ebooks, like I'll start an ebook, read like a chapter of it. I'm like, that was good. And then I just won't pick up that book for a while, and it'll go further down the queue, and then I'll be like scrolling one time in my Kindle. I'm like, oh yeah, I started this book and it was good. And it's just lost the time now. Like, so that happens to me too. Are you frozen?
No, just making a face.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
It's just making a face. No, I'm not. Yeah, I have a book on the shelf out in the sunroom that has like stuff that I want to read it's like in the quasi near future, but I mean, it just all depends. I just want to I need to develop routine. I haven't developed a routine since my car accident. Like since I moved in this house, I don't have a routine for editing and filming and stuff. And I just want to like, I'm not gunning for the 3-day week thing anymore. I don't have enough to say. Like I like streaming. Like I do like sprints where I can just talk about stuff. I think some of my favorite stuff comes off of that crap. Yeah, I'm not going to go back to 3 days a week, but I can get 2 videos a week out for sure. I just have to because it does not take long. My mind just makes me think it takes all the time. So, but if I'm in a routine, it would be fine. So I don't mean to do the fake freeze all the time. That one I didn't mean to. I was just like making a face.
What videos do you have filmed?
I have a December TBR. I have an Evil for Evil review. I have my experience with One Piece over the last 20 years. I have another one that is about something. Oh, like part 2 of my 3 years on BookTube from May. Where it's like, here, let me answer y'all's questions. I have another review of something. Oh, sorry, Devices and Desires. That's what I meant, Anita. So I have I've got like 5 that have been filmed and just sitting there. Oh, and I have like a rip from the sprints one where I talk about, I edited down my story about when I was a teenage vandal And
I think I missed that one.
Me and my friends graffitied the nice office bathroom with Latin.
It's the nerdiest thing.
Oh yes, I know. Like, and the thing is not realizing that if anybody had given a crap to just go and ask the Latin teacher, hey, because I've had that happen where some kids have tried to write something funny on someone's board or something, and they come to me like, hey, what does this say? And I'm like, okay, let me talk to that kid because that's not appropriate. But it wasn't even inappropriate stuff. It was literally we just thought it'd be funny to graffiti with Latin. And if they had taken, we'd have been suspended. If they had just like asked, because there's no way she would not have been able to pinpoint which three did it. There's no way. She would have fingered us instantly, and we'd have lost it. I only did. I mean, I have a whole bunch of why you should read things that I need to film about, like trilogies I finished, because I only reviewed the first one.
I finished that. I don't think I talked about it at all, but
no, I just thought that it's fine, and that's how I felt.
So I don't think sometimes I get tricked by an audiobook narrator, whereas like technically I think it's a good, like I think their voice is good. And they sound good and they're easy to listen to. And then I get far enough into the book where I realize it's jarring to me for some reason. So Savus Corax, it's told in first person. And I already have an issue with KJ Parker's first person because like I did the 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City trilogy.
Dude, me too. Me too.
I mean, I haven't read his third person, except I read the first like 10 pages of The Folding Knife just to sample it. And I liked it immediately way better. So I think I'm going to...
Literally, that's where I am now. Like I am saying repeatedly, like I prefer Parker's third person works to a tremendous degree more than his first person works. It's not that I don't like the first person, but the third person is so much better.
I did one of his novellas. He read it too, but I forget which one it is. And it was first person, and I read the Defending a City trilogy. And my problem is they always sound just like the same type of character. And so, like, I had diminishing returns.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I had diminishing returns with that trilogy because, like, 16 Ways, I was like, okay, like, I like it. Like, it wasn't a favorite, but, like, and then I was like, this is a whole different dude with a whole different life experience, and he just talks to the book the same way. And then in the third one, it was even worse. So Savus Corax didn't feel exactly like that character, but it felt similar. So that was already a strike against it. But then the audiobook narrator, like technically he sounded good and he had like a lot of bass to his voice. And I was like listening to it, I was like, yeah, this is good. And I got like halfway into the book and I was like, I don't think this is the right narrator for this book. Like I think it makes me picture the scenes and like the way people are talking differently than what maybe KJ Parker intends. Or at least to how I
when you just said that it has a lot of bass, I would never have considered Savus Corax as having a lot of bass in his voice. Like,
yeah, it's just like a very gruff, like
Savus Corax. He sounds like Fancy Pants to me.
No, you should listen to the audio sample. So I don't know. At that point, I was already like deep into the audio, so I was like, I'll just finish this. But I have the next two, and I'm just gonna read the second one physically and see how I feel because I don't think I think it influenced how I read that book.
Me personally, I liked books 2 and 3 better than book 1.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think, and Anita, I'm not saying that I love KJ Parker regardless, but I have read all of his short fiction and it's all first person, except the Epistola ones, which are, but I like those.
I do not agree with this, Anita. I don't think he sounded like Simon Vance. Maybe for like some of the voices.
And then I read the Savus Corax, which was the first novels I've read by him that were first person. And I just don't like his first person as much because they do feel very similar. And I just think Parker's stuff that he does, I think he is, I just think it benefits from multiple POVs. And so I really like the Engineer trilogy. I like so much better than the first person stuff.
What is going on with Jimmy? Does he hit like some sort of like different level in his brain whenever he sees you to just say ridiculous things?
Yes. Yes. Jimmy, I'm not sure Jimmy's ever been on like in the comments on a stream that I'm on and not just like trolled.
Lost his mind. Yeah. Are you gonna start a rap group, Alan?
Unlucky, dude. Sorry.
What was that?
last night my brother was at the Christmas party of my parents, and like I didn't want to go because I don't get along with my. It's not I don't get along. I just am not super close to my dad's side of the family or whatever. But my brother was there, and I didn't know he was going to be there. And he was telling me about how his WoW group. There's this guy that he can always just hear the dude hitting his bong because he leaves an open mic, so it's always like. And he just is. But he prefers this weird stoner guy who's not very good, but everyone likes him, to the people who take raids way too seriously. But he'll run the wrong way on a boss and get killed by like the claw swipe. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I got feared, dude. I got feared. And they're like, dude, this boss doesn't even fear. He goes, unlucky, dude. And so every time he loses like a loot roll, he'll go, unlucky, dude, like really loudly. And that's what I was doing. I was pretending to be Saucy is his name. Because he's also someone, he used a Know What I Likes Hipsters gif, and it was me. And one of my brother's other guildmates, who's, a friend of his from high school, was like, isn't that your brother? And Ryan was like, oh yeah, that is my brother. And the guy was like, no way, dude. So yeah, some random dude in California used.
So just to be clear, you were on a stream with a bunch of book people who do not know your brother or this person, and you're referencing this streamer that you don't know personally.
It came into my head. Like,
okay, I'm just making sure we're on the level here.
Unlike no, it's just like my brother's funny that I'm going to like. I'm trying to not forget about it so that I can incorporate and like appropriate the unlucky dude into my everyday vernacular.
And what's wild is that guy has no idea the impact he's had on you.
He does not.
Do you think about that ever? Like, just like you're like, there are people that I've like impacted that I just have no concept of the role I've had in their lives.
And so my brother just told me about this guy because of the fact that someone in California accidentally used a GIF of his brother that he has no idea of my brother like in there with my brother or whatever. So it was just
I get the story. That part of the story lost me before, but I get it. That actually is kind of crazy. Like
he didn't know that my brother had a brother. He just like found a hipster's GIF and used it, and then they were like, holy crap, that's your actual brother, Ryan. And exactly. Oh, unlucky, dude. So
I went to the zoo once. I don't know why this reminded me, but I went to the zoo once, and there was this like 4-year-old girl, and she was like, I don't even remember what animal it was, but it was like small animals that were gathered together, and she was sitting there, and she was just like, they don't participate in what people like to do. Like, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was like, they don't want to interact with the people. It's basically what she was trying to say. And her mom was like, well, animals just do what they want to do, sweetie. Like, being a mom, saying random mom things. And she just went up to the cage and she was like, all right, everybody, you need to pay attention to us. And it's just like a kid doing a thing. But I just found it so funny. And like my wife and I just, as soon as we walked away, we just fell apart laughing, like the way she said it and like the intonation and all of this stuff.
That's awesome. I love precocious children.
Yeah. And we just say that once in a while. And I'm just like, that kid will never
pay attention to us. I like it.
Yeah, it's nuts. So we have to talk about Sanderson.
Do we?
We do have to talk about Sanderson.
Why?
Why?
Isn't that literally what everyone else is doing? Like at this
point,
point,
we don't have to talk about Sanderson because Sanderson is in the conversation. We have to talk about Sanderson because he's my favorite author and you're a nutbag. So why don't you get over Alloy of Mid and read a different Sanderson book and not base all of your opinions?
I hate Sanderson more with every passing day. Not even
why? Why don't you just get over it?
No. Look, I can't. I'm done with the cult of Sanderson. Like I don't.
That has nothing to do with him and his work.
Don't care. Like I don't care. Don't care. You are like it doesn't matter. Like you. Sorry, you are. He is catching strays. First of all, it does have something to do with him because I'm just like every time I see him on a video, I'm just like I hate this. Stop.
What did he do? He's just a nice man. He's just a nice little Mormon dude writing stories.
rubs me the wrong way. Like, he just rubs me the wrong way.
Rub me the wrong way. That's what
I mean,
think.
I rub a lot of people the wrong way. So I'm like, that's what is so funny, Christina. She's laughing in the kitchen.
I just like, here's the thing is that like I hear you talk, you just catching strays on Sanderson all the time. You just pull out an AK when he's just driving by, you just pop some shots. And the thing is, a lot of the time, you've never even watched the thing. You just hear people talk about the thing. And then you're like, Sanderson and his castle. And I'm like, all right, man, cool, bro.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I don't like king making. Like, the act of king making bothers me. So every time someone goes from like no subs to like 20,000 because one of the BookTube royalty decided to promote something they did, I hate king making. And the problem is when I see people that like are in my circle that all of a sudden have been personally invited by the Sanderson team to go sit in the freaking nerd basement at Castle Roshar or whatever it is. Like, I'm sorry, but that creates an us versus them. Like, it does.
No, it doesn't. Do you think Bookborn got a lot of subs from that? Like
no, Bookborn, I'm not talking about subbing here. But Bookborn acting like she's part of the hoi polloi is not true. Like, sorry, if you've been invited to Castle Roshar, you're no longer part of the hoi polloi. You're not. You're part of the patrician class. And that's okay. You just can't pretend like you're a pleb. You can't. It doesn't, like, you can't. Sorry. You are a special kind of citizen who is handpicked by the most popular fantasy author in our corner of BookTube. Like, sorry, like you're not a pleb. You're a patrician. And so don't act like you're one of us. You're not. Like, it segments society, because have the rest of us been chosen? Because like, you're chosen. Oh, I was asked to go to this like launch whatever. Okay, it's the same thing as the people who get to go and hang out with celebrities, but on a much more minor, nerdy scale.
Alan,
so what? We can disagree all you want. That's fine. It doesn't change reality, Kyle.
Couldn't you just be happy for your friend?
No.
Why not?
I am happy for them. I don't like the principle of the fact that something like this creates division, because it makes classism. It does. It
do you
creates
think
a class
Sanderson
of people.
Was trying to make classism, or do you think that he was trying to have people talk about his book?
Okay. All right. Sanderson, pick someone who has 5 subs. Then I'll believe it. Pick someone who has 5 subs.
Okay, so I agree. Like, it was a trickle-down economy, because they picked Murphy, and then Murphy chose Bookborn. So it's not
king making. That's king making. That's literally what it is.
You should just be happy that friends of yours got an opportunity.
I can be both. If I can be nothing else, I can be both.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And also irritated at the act of king making. So
okay, I mean, that's fair. I just didn't expect you to get this mad about this, honestly.
No, the thing is, I'm not mad about, like, it sounds. I'm angry at the principles that govern our world. Like, that's what I'm mad about. So it sounds like I'm mad about this specific thing. I'm mad about the principle that applies to the world at large. I just don't like king making.
So how would you like if somebody was an author that was trying to do a thing, would you want him to just get a raffle of like any person in their basement come to my? That's dumb. That's dumb too.
It's not. It's more fair.
Not everything needs to be fair. Some, like, you could just get a dude that's like, yeah, I read like 5 pages of a Sanderson book, but you know who's way better? Ernest Cline.
No, not that. Like a raffle of people who actually like Sanderson. Like that. I'm not talking about like random people who haven't read him. Sorry, go ahead. I'm getting coffee. You talk.
Just to help clarify, I think what Alan's saying is we just entered something kind of similar-ish with a like podcaster that we really like. And he's doing like I will come to your house, and it's to promote his new book. Like, I will give you a copy of my book, come to your house and do dinner with you. But rather than just
coffee,
I'll make more coffee. I brought you the last coffee. Anyway, rather than like choosing someone that
I'll make some more.
Rather than the podcaster choosing someone that he knows, like, oh, well, they are very influential. It's just a random like drawing. So I think that's what Alan's.
And hold on. And do you know why they're doing that? Because they have Asperger's. Because they also understand, like, it's autism. It's I can't help it. It's autism.
I don't think that's the case.
It is.
In this case, I think it's just that two different people chose two different things, Alan.
So Alan's just saying he likes that.
Hey, guess what? This person doesn't have a whole convention named after their crap.
Master Sal says that I translate you well. I think I do.
Yeah, you're like, have you seen the Key and Peele Luther the Anger Translator?
No.
Oh, you should look it up later. So it's basically like one of them is playing Obama, and Obama is like saying something really calm and measured, and then the other one is like his anger translator, and he's like getting really mad about it. You're like the opposite for Alan. You're like, Alan's getting really mad about something, and you're like, here's what he actually means.
So I think Alan's just saying he's more comfortable with something like that, which still does generate quite a buzz because lots of people.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know what? I bet if Alan brought that to Sanderson's attention, he might even consider it because he's a good dude.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
You don't know that. You have no idea.
And I was just asked, are you going to read Sanderson? I read, what's the one I read, love?
Way of Kings?
I read Way of Kings. I don't know that I will finish the series. It was interesting, but I'm just not sure it's for me.
You should try book 2. Since you've already finished book 1, book 2 is like the real good one. If that hooks you, then you're hooked. If not, then it might not be.
Okay.
I know people who hated book 1 and loved book 2. So book 2 is very good.
I just was some of the characters I was like, like not super interested in. And because it's just the ones I was interested in, it was like so long before it came back to them.
Who were the ones you were interested in?
I really liked Dalinar.
Okay.
And I was his son. I went back and forth on. And same thing with Shalon. Is that how you say her name?
Shalon is a lot better in the second one. I hated her the first time through.
Well,
and then book 2, she's a lot better.
Interesting. And then sometimes I was just like, I don't buy it. Like I guess her character didn't feel like fully formed to me.
I agree.
She was a little wishy-washy or not consistent as a character. And I don't even, it's been so long since I've read it. I don't even remember.
I think you should try the second one. I'm not saying it just because I really like it. Like I do really like it, but I think based on the problems you had, I just think the second book has a lot of, just give it a try someday.
I might.
Right.
I picked it up kind of randomly, but anyway, yeah. I don't want to totally co-op this thing, and Alan's back. So
okay. See you later.
Alan.
I'm playing with the dog. All right.
What's up? Do you have coffee now?
I mean, no, it's brewing. I don't have instant coffee. Like, I can't snap.
I don't know what you have. Some people do have instant coffee.
Yeah, I know, but it still has to brew. Like,
yeah,
even instant coffee, you have to know it's brewing. Anyway, yeah, so Christina expresses my...
To be clear, I knew that's what you meant. I just think that it was coming across like you were mad at people you knew, and I wanted clarification on that.
It always sounds
yeah, that I mean, I'm a very like the principle is more important than the thing person as well. But you're much more principled than me, so you're even stronger on that.
I also okay. So here's a corollary. It infuriates me every time I see a booktuber with, and it bothers me less in the general world because it's like, well, that's never going to be. That's like I'm not even in that realm or whatever. But it bothers me in the general world too. But in booktube especially, whenever I see someone being like gifted this really expensive, like sent an expensive like edition of something or whatever, and I'm like, those people can freaking afford to buy it. Like, and I understand why. Like, they're promoting it. The people are sending it to them so it can be promoted to an audience. I do understand that, but it enrages me. I'm like, the people you're giving it to are the people who could go buy it. So why don't you give it to someone who can't afford it? And let those people go freaking buy the dang thing. Because it just makes me mad. Like, it makes me mad. Like, I get physically angry about it, because it's like it's not fair, because it's again the principle of the rich get richer. Like, the rich get richer and the poor just stay here. It's like, it's trash. That person can buy 12 copies of that and not bat an eye, and you're giving it to the whole thing for free. That's ridiculous. And yet, I do understand how business works. I'm not a sickle waving Soviet. That's not what I'm saying. I do understand. It just frustrates me. So,
I was listening to this podcast recently. I forget the name of it, but it's Sonny Dean and Scott Drakeford are two Tor authors. And the premise of it is they both launched in the same year, and they got wildly different expectations from Tor and their launch. So Scott Drakeford's book didn't do very well, and Sonny Dean's Book Eaters did really well. And basically the differences in how they were treated in the publishing industry by the same publisher in the same year. It's a very, very interesting podcast so far. I really like it. But one thing they had on JT Greathouse, who wrote a trilogy, but also is a bookseller. He owns a bookstore. And so he was talking about how at his bookstore, they were talking about how people get arcs and like get new books for their books that are coming out. And JT Greathouse was saying that they get sent a lot of arcs, but like it frustrates him because they'll send the same bookstore like 6 or 8 arcs of like the same book. And he's like, I don't need 8 copies of Babel.
Yeah.
Like, give me 8 copies of like 1 copy of Babel and 7 copies of other arcs that I don't know about those books.
Yeah.
And so like it frustrated him. I'm like, that's like a really bad marketing decision. Like, I don't understand. Like, are you going to have every person at the bookstore reading Babel at the same time before it releases? Like, I don't understand why you would do it that way. And that's the same thing where it's like they're just throwing money at a problem instead of doing things more equally.
This is another problem. Ben is highlight Ben's comment about it's a Sanderson comment. Sorry. Yeah, that thing I don't understand. It's like, no, Sanderson doesn't need to promote his books. A Sanderson book does not need to be promoted. So this isn't even the thing that I was talking about, where like I get it because you're trying to promote it with the widest audience possible. Sanderson like could do no marketing and it would still sell the exact same. Like, people are going to buy Sanderson, going to buy Sanderson, like whatever. And so this I don't get either. But and again, it sounds like Alan just wants to get sent stuff. There is one particular thing that I am not going to name, but there's a single instance of this that is the most infuriating thing about this, because it is something that I want very, very badly, but I literally can never afford, because one, it's not in print, and resold, it's too freaking expensive. And yet someone was just sent a free one. And it's like, okay, well, I actually like that thing more. And, I can't get a copy of that. It's too freaking expensive. So like it just makes me mad. And it violates my inner.
I have a feeling I know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to name it. But
you can type it in the private chat and see if you're right.
Pete said Publishers Rodeo. He's 6 episodes in. That is the name of the podcast. It is really good. I recommend it for anybody who wants like information on kind of how the publishing industry works behind the scenes. Hold on, let me private chat this.
I don't know. It's just another one of those things that it's just king making. It's like the aristocrats are going to stay on top. And
never mind, I realized something else. It's definitely not what I'm talking about. I thought it was a Dandelion Dynasty set, but you already have it.
I do have it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to rob you. It's fine. I hope you hate Dandelion Dynasty, if for no other fact that you might then sell me that set.
I might say that set anyway. Here's the thing. I'm not going to read that set because I don't actually like reading the nice copies. Like, I don't like the binding in them. Also, I don't like reading hardbacks. I have Grace of Kings in paperback, and that's literally what I'm going to read it with. So I actually might say this anyway. Like, seriously. Because like
I would really like to buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me afterwards.
Yeah, sounds good.
Seriously.
Yeah, so I have my Dandelion Dynasty set is just annoying as hell because I did have the mass market paperback that I sent to Jake And then that became one of his favorite series. So that was worthwhile. But then I have Grace of Kings hardcover. And then I have 2 different mass market paperbacks of Wall Storms, UK and US. And then I have the arc of the next 2 in trade paperback. And then I have the hardcover of Speaking Bones. So it's just like nonsense.
Sorry, Kyle, we're about to enter a bidding war. Because Shad and Pete also.
Well, we shouldn't have talked about this on stream.
About to start bidding for my Dandelion Dynasty set.
Well, listen, we have a gentleman's agreement on live, so principles.
No. Sorry, we don't. Kyle, you know we don't live in the world where a handshake and
Sure, we're all crooks. We're all crooks.
Are you BFFs with Ken Liu?
I'm not BFFs with him, but like I've talked to him enough that. Put it this way, he knows who I am. I have many mahogany books.
Do y'all know who Kyle is?
No, but Ken's cool. I want to have him on again sometime to talk about random stuff. He's very, very smart. He is one of the people that when I hear him talk, I'm just like, I'm too dumb for this conversation.
I like that.
Well, I don't know do you know Davis, Alan, like in the Discords? I don't know if he's in your Discord.
How you spell it?
Davis, Davis.
No, I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, Davis is like a Dandelion Dynasty scholar, and he's like the smartest Dandelion Dynasty person I've seen. He will like write like literal essays in like Jimmy's Discord about Dandelion Dynasty.
I would hate that.
But so he's a very smart guy. But the funny thing is that the joke then became that he's actually just Ken Liu under a different name, and so I was going to reference that joke, but you don't know who he is, so.
Oh,
see, Evie knows who I'm talking about.
The problem is I don't like people who write big essays to explain something to me. It makes me angry.
This is my problem with Malazan.
Yes, Malazan bros do it all the time.
I really, and look, the thing is when I say this, I feel like every person who really likes Malazan and really likes discussing Malazan gets like offended or like sad that I'm talking about them. I might not be talking about, like, a lot of people are fine, but you get some people that just can't interact with Malazan in a reasonable level. And that makes me not want to discuss it with anybody. So it's like, maybe it's only 1 in 4 people that talk this way, but that one person talking that way makes me not want to talk about it with the other 3 people. So it's like, there was one time, I don't know if Joanna's still here, but like someone was irritating me in a Discord somewhere, and they were just like saying a bunch of just like and then Joanna said like a really nuanced, awesome comment. And then I had like said like, oh, I don't want to talk about all this. And Joanna just deleted her comment. And I was like, no, Joanna, like I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just muted the Malazan chats now because it just makes me angry. I don't want you guys to talk this way. It's not God King Erickson. He's an author. He wrote some books. Chill out.
I can't, like, the Discord. Oh yeah, Stormlight is. I mean, Sanderson.
Okay, so I'm not talking. So I agree with what you are saying, Jimmy, and I'm sure you get a lot of absurd people. Sanderson fans are annoying in a very different way. There's tons of very annoying ones. What specifically bothers me about Malazan fans is that Malazan has this cult of personality about it, where it's like it's the smartest thing you can read, and if you don't like one aspect, it's because you didn't get it. Like you didn't get it. Like it's too late. You are scum. You do not get what God King Erickson meant.
Now there, like, if we're talking about God Kings, like the Sanderson cult has, like, it's God King Sanderson too. It's just
I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, Jimmy.
But
I've never seen. So I've seen very annoying Sanderson fans for a lot of different ways. I don't see very many people, and Sanderson specifically, say that if you don't like it, it's because you didn't get it. They'll say other things.
I think that's true. I just think they call you like an idiot or horrible names if you say something bad on videos. Like, I haven't seen it a lot in the Discords, certainly on my Discord. But like on video,
I mean, every fandom has like just
rabid people,
uncouth barbarians that can't interact with society. I don't think that's Malazan specific.
Hey, do you know, Evie, that when there is do you know what I think the most important discourse we can all have on BookTube is when Wired publishes an article and we literally every single person's opinion on it. I think that is I love it when anything happens in the news and every single person feels the need to make a 30-minute long video about its analysis.
I hate that with whenever there's any Sanderson news and people are like, update on Dragon. I'm like, dude, we're going to get all the information we need to get from, like, it's fine. We don't need your reactions. Also, I just want to say, yes, Davis is not condescending in his essays. I did not mean him in any way. Just in case he ever watches this, he's a great guy.
Anyway, I have people coming over and like.
Oh yeah, we're at 2 hours now. So I was watching the time, and then we got into Sanderson stuff, and time flew by.
We got a good outburst.
Before we leave, Anitha says Leanna had to delete a video because of Sanderson fans, and that is true. But she also had to delete a video and basically DNF a series because of Erickson fans. So
also true.
Anyway, the point is, I like Malazan a lot, and the people that talk about it are mixed.
I'm hoping to read, like I say this in my December TBR video that's filmed, and because it's a December TBR and plans for next year, I say that I would really like to. I'm gonna give it a try once. I'm gonna try being part of a hype train to start with. So I'm gonna try to catch up on Stormlight before this next one comes out. Chance of success 50-50.
If you really like it, are you gonna come to Dragon Con with all of us? Dragonsteel?
Let me explain you why. Where's Dragonsteel, Kyle? Where's Dragonsteel? Salt Lake City. Where's that? Is that in Utah?
Yes.
You know where I live? I live in Florida. How am I gonna get there? Not everybody can afford freaking plane flights or the time off.
Okay, why are you being so hostile? I'm asking you as a friend if you want to meet up with your friends. I'm that's what I mean. I live far away too. I am going to take a plane. They make big metal cylinders that put you in the air.
More closer to Utah than I am.
A little.
How much is plane fare out of Canada?
A lot.
Is it? Was a lot from here too.
I have not checked how much it would be from Florida to Utah. I have an inkling it would be cheaper for you to
look at
fly.
Pete.
But that's fine to just be like, I can't go. That's a reasonable.
By someone who has no idea what do you mean it's on a weekend? So when am I going to fly? When am I going to fly? Am I going to fly on Saturday and come back on Sunday? Is that what you're saying I'm going to do? Or am I going to have to take 2 days off, one on either side?
Why are you like, I just asked you a nice question about gathering with your friends.
You literally came up in your hooded robe and handed me a small like token with a freaking eldritch sign on it and said, hey, do you want to come to the Silver Twilight Lodge? Quit inviting me to your expensive cult that I have to pay money to get to the highest level. I don't want to be a level 13 laser wizard and hold the cookie wand.
Excellent reference. Okay, we'll just fly up to Manitoba and come hang out with me then, because there's no Dragonsteel.
That's probably more fun. Like that's the thing. Now I'm not gonna read. Now I'm not gonna read Stormlight because you're characterizing me as I have to join the lodge.
I do hope you like Stormlight. I have been. Listen, I love Stormlight. I have been on the side of you finding Stormlight mid since the very beginning, and I hope I'm wrong. I think there'll be moments that you will really like. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Words of Radiance that's like really. Like, it would be impossible to not find great. I just think the things you're not going to like about Stormlight are going to really bother you. But I know you need to get going. So thank you for taking your time out on Saturday to come hang out with me and yell a little bit. Thanks to everybody in the comments. You guys were very lively today. And it was wonderful seeing everybody. Talk to everybody soon. And I will talk to Alan again when he hates more Stormlight books. So bye, everybody.
I don't think I'm going to hate Stormlight.
I don't think you're going to hate it either. But
I don't think I'm going to like it as much as everybody else is.
Yeah, I agree. All right. See you, everybody.
Oh, I thought you already hit the thing.
No, I did.